Put some clothes on, that woman over there in her underwear. Yeah, you.
This is, it's an honor for us to be here. Thank you so much for coming and
She's
listening.
put a mask on. That's not going to help, Treasure.
Oh my God. Everybody turn around and look at that. And now she's up on the chair,
Yes.
and she's going to fall, and I'll be sued. Oh my God, beautiful.
Oh, now she's back in her butt.
Great.
Okay.
12 years old.
Beautiful Columbia down there. My gorgeous, looking divine.
You know, this is a question and answer kind of thing. You know, you say the question and we'll try to answer it. But the one who has the best question, and the audience will be the judge of that. You're going to get a signed poster from Rocky Horror Picture Show, but it's the Japanese poster, and it's very. And we said domo arigato. So here we go. This is
That means
here.
fuck off in Japanese.
Thank you for the translation.
Is that really what it says? Did I wrote something rude on it? Oh God. Okay, sit down and answer the question. Thank you, Mom.
So before we actually get to the audience, I have a couple questions for both of you. And I think one of the most iconic things about the Rocky Horror Picture Show is the stunning costuming. And of course, your incredible outfit that we see modeled in the front row. And Barry, your incredible briefs that you got to model in the movie. I wanted to know if you guys had any input as far as the costuming, or if it was suit.
You wanted to wear boxes, right?
No, I wanted this thing, and my input was obvious. That's pretty good. I've never done that. Okay, no, my only input on the is that they wanted to put me in a pair of tighty-whities from Marks and Spencer, I think, right? Yeah. And I said, no, you've got to get me something from America. So they quickly, when somebody in New York shipped us over some jockeys.
What was wrong with the Marks and Spencer ones?
Well, this said Marks and Spencer on it, and that would have been given away.
Oh my God.
You know?
Like, isn't it a Woody Allen movie where the person is on a slab and they're wearing Calvin Klein underwear, and the doctor looks and says his name is Calvin Klein.
Yeah, my name is Jockey. Yeah. Or after this movie, it's Fruit of the Loom. Yeah.
And one of my other questions for you when I was doing research, because I've had...
Excuse me,
yeah?
she didn't answer her question. Would you please answer the question?
Oh, sorry, with your underwear.
I know, as you always have.
Yes, and that will never stop. No, I had no input whatsoever. Sue Blaine, it was all in her head.
And how different was the costuming between the stage show and the film?
Well, you know, I think my stage show outfit was pretty ghastly. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen photographs, because I'm wearing tight black trousers which go to about here, that do have the coloured, like the short ribbons sewed on it. But then I've got men's garters, you know, men's sock garters here, holding up a pair of socks. Ridiculous. Anyway, I'm not into that look, but someone showed me some photos of me, and I'm wearing this tiny bra, which I actually own, and it's like I've got nothing on, and I'm like, posing, doing the time walk, carrying on. I can't believe what I was like.
Yeah, you're talking like you had something on in the movie. I mean...
I know, but this somehow this is like the stage version, the audience might hear. It seemed a whole lot more cavalier.
Oh.
Anyway, but I much prefer the iconic, fabulous Columbia outfit that I wear in the film.
Okay, so when I was researching for this panel, I was reading something about Princess Diana was a fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Is there any truth to that?
How would we know, Treasure?
Well, from what I heard, she had spoken with Tim Curry and mentioned that she was a fan of the film. I just wasn't sure whether...
Question for Tim.
Then I will have to ask Tim. Okay, good to know. I mean, I figured there's a lot of, huge stars that are huge fans of the movie, but I was wondering about Princess Diana. And I also wanted to ask about the shooting schedule. Did it feel like you guys were rushed in filming since it was such a short... It was only 6 weeks, was it?
5.
5 weeks to film.
No, we were rushed, and 20th Century Fox was breathing down the neck of the director Jim Sharman all the time. And I felt that pressure, did you?
Yes.
I mean, we had very few takes. On things like the Time Warp, which is everybody, like all the Transylvanians,
Right.
everyone is involved. And it was from this saying, you know, they did very few takes on that. And obviously that was the high point of my moment in the film with my solo. And you know, it was like, get it right, bitch. You've got to jump down from a very high jukebox and then tap your little heart out. One take, Charlie.
Did you, and the fall was built in, right? Into the thing.
Yeah, that
You
fall.
didn't just
No, I
fall.
didn't fall. I don't know. I guess that was just to make Columbia look silly, but I think she managed to rise above it. How do you feel, Trish?
Okay.
All right, well, since you mentioned, Barry, that this is a Q&A panel, we do have a microphone that is set up right in the middle of the room. I know it's a little bit intimidating, but whatever questions you guys might have, this is your chance for this beautiful signed poster. So let's see what you guys got. Go right ahead.
Were you not aware that we were being hurried along?
No, I mean, I was so busy, you know, just trying to get people to like me. Because you guys all thought I was Brad Majors.
And still do, Tricia.
Yes, thank you. But no, it was, we worked hard, we drove long ways to get into that studio, and then I went into my underwear and was sprayed down with water for 5 weeks. I hated the whole thing. You know.
Now we're getting to hear it.
Okay.
Is that true?
I didn't have a good time.
Oh my God.
And you know, and you never talked to me. No, you did talk to me once. I saw a picture. I saw a picture with you.
Me talking to you. Oh,
Yeah.
that is so funny.
Yeah.
Well, we're all as high as kites for starters. We were all
You were.
shagging each other. We'd all known each other for years.
Yeah, and we were the newbies. We were there. We had just gotten off the. We were exactly like Brad and Jim.
We probably resented you bitterly for, you know, taking the roles from the people that we wanted and Jim Sharman wanted in the roles. Well, you do know.
Are you saying that the director didn't want us for this?
No, he didn't.
Jim Sharman was the director. You just said.
I'm saying you're correct. Jim didn't want you in the role.
Oh.
No, he wanted to have other people in the roles, and 20th Century Fox insisted that that Brad and Janet had to come because they, 20th Century Fox wanted either David Bowie, Mick Jagger, Lou Reed, they all wanted the role.
Yeah.
And the director said, no way, I want the original cast. And they said, well, we'll give you double the budget if you put one of those mega stars in the role. And he said, no, I'll have half the budget and I'll keep my cast. And they said, well, you have to cast Americans that have at least, seen a movie camera in front of them in the Brad and Janet roles. And because they weren't nearly as iconic a role as Frankenfurter, I think he was forced to do it. He was forced to put two Americans in, and so we got stuck with you two.
God, now I really don't like you.
Oh, I've come round to you over the years.
I came all the way to Minnesota just for this. Look, see, these people here want this poster, so you better be good. What? Do you have a question?
Hello. Welcome to Minnesota, first of all.
Oh.
Thank you. What is it like to be part of an iconic movie that is played over and over and just, something that you almost become, this is who you were to us?
That's right. We are heroes. We are icons. We are blessed to have gotten a job 44 years ago and can still talk about it, and that it's made some kind of impact socially, and and that it's changed lives, and it's entertained a shitload of people over these years, and that's good enough for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That
Thank
makes
you.
us very, very happy to be part of it. It's just been a great ride all the way. And I'd
Hello.
like to add to that because you did such a great job, you and Susan, that has contributed to making this a cult movie.
You can't make up for it now.
I'm not trying to make up for it.
You've already dug your hole.
No, I'm not trying to make up for it, but you could have got the job and both been terrible.
Yes.
And mercifully, you both, pulled it off. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
Hi, it's going to sound kind of a funny question, I guess, but I was really curious, just watching the movie recently with friends. First of all, stellar work in the heels and corsets and everything.
Thank you. And wet.
Yeah. But I really want to know, it sounds funny, but why is it that you are the only person whose breasts are out? Why did they decide to
Darling,
do...
my breasts fall out of everything. You can Google it.
Excuse me, my breasts were out too.
Let's just say, Susan, no. Her corset was right where it belonged.
I know. Look, I'm going to tell you something. My breasts are famous for being in the only sort of, what is it called, bloopers? Series of when they have things that go wrong, collapsing sets behind newsreaders, etc. Mine's the only provocative one, breasts falling out. And the fact is, my breasts have fallen out of so many outfits, and I never knew why. And then Sting's wife asked me to jump out of Sting's 40th birthday cake in Hollywood. So I was flown to Hollywood, and I was taken to a fabulous old corset maker who'd made corsets for all the great stars. And she measured me up to make me this incredible outfit. And she said, you have a rather strange proportion. And
Story of my life.
Thank you.
4'10" with my shoes on.
yeah. And she explained this proportion to me, and that is the reason that I pop out of things. I'm very tall. I'm much taller between here and here than most people. So when does that matter? Anyway, that is the reason I pop out of everything.
And you're a whore. Thank you very much for the question. Most characters, you don't have a nickname in this movie. The audience doesn't yell out something at you like asshole or slut or something. And I think I've got one for you. I think it's going to be titter tots. Titter tots. Okay, titter tots.
We'll have to try it at the next Shadowcast show.
Yeah, titter tots.
Titter tot.
Titter tots.
You heard it here first, folks.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for coming. My question is, if the Muppets were to do their own version of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, who would you like to see play your character?
Just like the Muppets was doing.
It's inside the Muppet.
We just met a Muppeteer in the green room. What? One of the people that does the Muppet.
Yeah, which Muppet would you like to see play your character?
I only know one Muppet. Oh wait, then maybe I've heard of two. I don't really know the Muppets. They're all hideous, darling.
Miss Piggy.
She's the star, isn't she? And there's a Kermit, is that right?
Yeah.
I'll say Kermit, that's the only other one I know.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Any suggestions? I feel like when you... Huh?
Janet.
Oh, Janice. Yeah, she has the big eyelashes.
Your question.
I'm curious how your families reacted after seeing the movie. If they knew kind of what they were going to expect from your performances, or if it was a total shock and surprise to them.
My parents weren't the slightest bit surprised. They had born and raised me, and that the result is history. No, they adored it.
Good.
So they were thrilled. How about your folks?
My parents, my father loved the fact that they called me asshole. Because whenever he went to a Rotary meeting, his friends in the Rotary Club would call him, asshole's father. And he would have to pay you had to give some money, put money in. So it basically, he just constantly had to pay money to the Rotary Club because he was asshole's father. And my wife, on the other hand, but I wasn't married at the time, but now I'll do these things and she'll say, you do know you showed your ass in front of an audience, and or you've said something rude, and I say to her, but you wanted to buy a chandelier, so I'm going to show my ass, and we're going to put those two kids through college, and just love it.
Thank you for your gaudiness.
Thank you.
Hi. Well, I just found out about Rocky Horror Picture Show about 3 years ago, and it's quickly become one of my favorite films of all time. And last night was my first Shadowcast, so that was an experience that I wouldn't pay to replace. Well, with the exception of you absolutely hating filming, what was a moment either from filming or from the stage show that you would love to get the chance to relive? If you could go back in time and relive those moments.
Oh, is that a question for me?
It's for both of you.
Oh yeah. If I was going to relive a moment in the
Either or. I mostly added the stage show because I hated the filming so much.
Oh.
Tracy, I've
No.
never heard you say that before.
What?
That you hated filming.
I didn't.
You said
Did I say that?
yes!
We have it on camera.
Well, on bar
I didn't.
already.
I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
I love this film.
Don't
I
dig
loved
yourself
every
out of that hole, honey. That's not.
every minute of it. You know what my favorite moment of this whole experience has been? It's the first time I saw Tim Curry on stage playing Frankenfurter in a theater in Los Angeles, and he just blew me away. And then he blew me in the movie. So it's all sort of, what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Okay. That's true. Thank you. Did we answer your question? Well, then sit the fuck down, will you? Come on, let somebody else talk. Thank you. I'm sorry. This kid's here, and I'm saying bad words. I'm so sorry.
They're in a Rocky Horror Pit.
We're ready for you, darling.
Yes.
Hi, sorry I'm overly short, so this microphone. All right, I understand the proportions things. I have like a ridiculously long waist and short, tiny little legs. So. No, I was wondering, only 5 weeks of filming the movie, you said you probably had to learn the choreography very quickly. Do you still remember any of the choreography? And
All of it. There's not that much of it.
could we see?
No. Where a wild and an untamed thing, kick. Where a bee with a deadly sting, kick. I mean, there's, not even all. And also, we'd done the play. Well, I had done the play, and it's very similar. The choreography was very similar to the play, to the music, theatre version.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And of course, I can still do the eternal.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you guys so much for coming. You addressed it kind of last night when you addressed us here at the Shadowcast performance that Rocky has really created this community that I'm sure you had no clue would happen when you made this movie. I have made and still have so many friends because of the work that you guys did. Have you all, the cast, stayed in touch? And I know you do these things from time to time, but have you all kept in touch and talked to each other? I know you were kidding earlier, Barry, when you said you just didn't care for her at all.
I didn't. You know I'm kidding. And I'm touching her now, so therefore
That doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
Yeah, while I was sitting at my table, I got an email from Richard O'Brien yesterday. Yeah, and Pat we see regularly.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to her on the phone the day before yesterday. She deeply regrets not being able to be here. Sends you all her kindest regards. She's off filming in Spain, so no castanets at the Worlds. And we see Meatloaf regularly, and Tim too. So yeah, we are. I used to see Susan more when I was living in New York, but now I just come and go from New York, so I don't see it so much.
Well, I just want to say, from all of us, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know a lot of us who love this movie have made so many friends and have come closer to so many people. It's so nice to hear that you guys made friends too.
I've made friends with a lot of the Shadowcast people all over the country, and they are just fabulous.
Yes.
And they have kept this thing alive for 44 years because of their love for it and their love for the people that they've gathered around them in terms of their community and how the movie has changed their lives. So perhaps like you?
Very much.
Yeah, and so they're...
That's the best part of the story.
Yeah.
The people involved, all of you people, have made lifelong friends and people have gotten married and had children.
Yeah.
And that's what brings us the most joy, that the shadow casts have become their own communities. And, you know, people will go from one shadow cast, they move, they then join another shadow cast. It's a great story.
Speaking just for myself, no other film has ever impacted my life like yours has.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Wonderful to hear.
And I think to piggyback off of that, what makes us appreciate and love you guys and the film so much more is because of how involved you guys are and how passionate you guys are about Rocky Horror and coming to these conventions. And you guys are so incredible. Thank you for keeping it alive.
Our pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to Minnesota.
Yes.
I hope you're having a good time. Actually,
And you have a voiceover career, don't you?
my tiptoes in there. But how'd you guess? I wanted to ask you actually something where, first off, I want to say Nell, I also love shock treatment, actually.
Such a shame you weren't in that.
No, maybe next time.
I know, it just really upsets me. It would be so great if it was all the same people.
Yeah.
Except for me, of course.
But you can blame Tim and Susan for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a separate question for each of you involving actually other work you've done, because you've had so much other works you've done too over the years, but there were a couple in particular I'm very curious to hear about. For you, Nell, I was wondering what it was like. You've also been in the 1998 version of Great Expectations with Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
What was it like working with the great Alfonso Cuarón, the director? And for Barry, you were in a few different musicals, most notably Grease. But I saw you were also in a short-lived musical show called Nick and Nora Charles, which is based on the Thin Man series. And I was wondering, what was it like to play that part that was made so iconic by William Powell?
Oh, you were the one who saw the show. Yeah, I think it lasted
full price.
It lasted full price. So after we opened, which we were only open for 10 days after we played for 2 months on Broadway it was a horrendous experience, and I'll probably never do it again. And thank you for bringing up this.
You're going to leave this stage in tears. A shell of a man.
You were in New York at the time, right? When Nick and Nora was on?
Oh, I only remember Nick, not Nora.
No, that was the problem with the show. It was more about Nora than Nick, if you remember. It was all backwards, and the music is great in it, I think. The album is a good album, and we about a year ago did a sort of a reboot of it for a nightclub thing where we all got together and did the music, and it was really quite good. But you'll never see it again on stage because it just didn't work, and I'm crying inside right now. Thank you so much. You will not win this.
Out of you. Off you go. Thank you.
He also asked about your experience with Great Expectations.
Thank you.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello. I'll just pretend I'm home enough. Oh, here we go. Thank you for coming to Minnesota. And thank you for the compliment. That means more to me than you know. My question, so I guess everybody always remembers the first time they saw Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, my dad rented it for me because he's been a fan since the beginning, and I remember just like kind of sitting in my living room watching it, thinking like, what the fuck? I love it. But like some people, they get dragged to the shadow cast and kind of thrown to the wolves. My partner and I, we actually have a long-standing debate with another couple we know. One of them has never seen it, so we're trying to figure out the best way to introduce her to it. So in your expert professional opinion, what is the best setting in which to first see Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I don't really think it matters. Because if you see it at home, you can concentrate on the film. And if you see it with a shadow cast, it's all very distracting. I don't think it matters. What do you think? Have you?
I didn't hear the question. I was too busy watching the guy walk out who I just embarrassed on.
I know, I was making There he is. We didn't embarrass you, did we?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
You're just over us. Okay.
Yeah. What was the question was, how did we first see it? No, that wasn't the question.
Which is the best way to see it for the first time? I'm saying
You
I don't
gotta
think
see
it
it.
matters. You think you have to see it with a shadow cast?
No, I think you should see it at home privately with a...
Get an understanding of it.
Yes, and then you can really appreciate, I think, the quality of the film, because I think it's a great film, and I think it's well shot and well acted, and it's brilliant in terms of its texture and background, and the set decorations are something you'll never see again. What was his
Brian
name?
Thompson.
Brian Thompson, brilliant set decorator. And,
He contributed a lot to the film, much more than the sets, as it happens.
Yeah.
He and Jim Sharman, the director, had a what's the word? A relationship. They both fired off each other creatively.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, for a long time after that too, right?
And before.
Yeah, and so I think you see it that way first, and then you go to a theater and see it with a shadow cast, and make sure that you're either drunk or stoned. And that's the way to see it in the theater,
I agree with all of that.
Thank you. You look great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Columbia.
Yeah.
I think that was the best question so far. What do you think?
Yeah, well, of course.
Hi, my name's Kat. So my first time actually seeing Rocky Horror Picture Show, I also said, what the crap is this? Did not understand any of it. Took like the third time to finally understand.
But you know what? We still don't understand it.
It was only like 3 years ago, and I'm only 20.
I'm not sure what people couldn't understand about it.
I was just super confused. I had people talking in the background. So yeah, seeing it at home, I also agree with. So my question though, what was it like working with Meatloaf and the music behind it? What did you guys feel like? Did you like the music and all that?
I loved the music. And loved working with Meatloaf. That man could, blow the roof off a tent.
The music is so simple. It's so simple. Well, it's basically 4 chords.
That's
right?
like the Beatles' music's 5, I believe.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's lasted so long. First of all, anybody could hum it or sing it.
That's why I encourage, parents to have like their 2-year-olds start watching it around that age.
Yeah. What, so they can sing the Sweet Transvestite at the age of 3?
Yeah, they should learn those multi-syllable words early on.
That's right. Yeah, transvestite. Okay.
Very catchy tunes.
Yeah.
Like the Wiggles in drag.
I just have one last question, Barry. What was it like to wear a corset?
Oh, you know what? I still own it, so I'm actually wearing it right now. Thank you.
So must we improve it? Is that
Having to learn what hell women go through.
Yeah.
You and Rocky. And Tim, of course, had been doing it for some time, but those high heels, the corset, and being then wet.
Well, the corset wasn't so bad. The high heels were hell, right?
I know, but being sort of pulled into those things, those skin-tight corsets, it's not that much fun. Carry on, darling.
Carry on.
What are you wearing, a bloody onesie?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It is. So first of all, I just want to say thank you. I obviously can't speak for the entire queer community, but I know that you guys have been incredibly iconic in all of our coming out stories and figuring out sexuality and gender identity. And there's a 14-year age gap between me and my little brother that's here, and Rocky Horror was something that kind of brought us together.
Did you come out as a furry? You can tell us. Nothing wrong, we don't judge here.
So I kind of have two questions. Number one, what was it like seeing your first shadow cast?
Oh, so fabulous, wasn't it? Seeing the first shadow, because such a long time ago, and it was very witty, and you could understand what they were calling out. It was a bit much more, it was sharper, more concise, wittier, and all the everything seemed to be so much easier to follow. Like, you know, the newspapers over the head, the rice, the lighting of the flicker, the zip lighters, etc. It was so well coordinated and fantastically well done. I mean, they still are doing it brilliantly, but I think there's a little too much. They let the movie speak for itself a lot as well, which made it far more entertaining, whereas now it can become like a kind of ego trip with the audience just wanting to rule the whole roost, which to me isn't as entertaining. It's funnier if you can hear what people are saying and then they all call something out,
yeah.
and then you hear what the film is saying again. Whereas now it's like just a barrage.
So, as kind of like a follow-up question, Minneapolis has Transvestite Soup that does the shadow cast. What's your favorite name of any like troupe across the states?
Transvestite Soup is pretty fabulous.
It's pretty damn good,
better than that.
Yeah, Transvestite Soup. Yeah, and then they told me that it was actually a callback.
That's right, because the swimming pool with all of us in it is called Transvestite.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, you know.
So Minneapolis wins?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I have two questions, one for Nell in particular, the other for both of you. I'd like to ask Nell's first. Will you be upset if fans come up to you and ask you to autograph Titter Tots?
Titter Tots.
Your new nickname.
What do you mean by if I've got the tater tots?
You know what tater tots are?
They're potatoes of some kind.
That's right. They're little potatoes like this.
Right.
You buy them in a package.
Oh, darling, nothing. I don't mind. I will. You know, I've autographed most parts of people's bodies at this point. So, you know, potatoes are the least of my worries.
What I'm asking is, will you be upset if they ask you to write that instead of your name?
Oh, yes. I just made that up right now. Titter tots thing.
Yeah.
We'll come up with something else next time I see you, right?
Okay.
Like horror.
I think you used that earlier as well.
Right.
My second question is, what was it like working with Tim Curry and being his friend ever since?
Is that for me?
Both of you.
Both
Yeah.
of us. Well, he's a...
I don't know who he is, but...
What a lovely man Tim is. And so I heard that somebody saying you never hear a bad word said about Tim. What a jerk. It's true. He is such a lovely man. Very, very witty, intelligent, quietly spoken. You wouldn't think if you hung out with him that he was going to be the person that jumped out behind with that cloak and threw it off by any means. But he's a born entertainer and just somebody that's incredibly attractive to men and women, which was a key element to the success of the film. I think you'd all agree that men and women find him attractive.
Thank you.
What was it like for you guys seeing his transformation on set for the first time, seeing him in full Frankenfooter?
Well, I've been seeing that for years, honey, because I did a show with him. So it was just, you know, he was just born to do it. And he was very droll and funny as well as being very sexy, which was a great combination, and his terrific singing voice. And he put that marvellous accent on of a very posh English lady.
Yeah, question.
Hi. Well, so when the movie first came out, it wasn't expected to be as huge as it is and have such a cult following behind it. Now being today, how does it feel being such a part of like such a small crew that have changed millions of lives and helped millions of people get comfortable in their own skin?
Well, it's put my 2 kids through college.
See, all goes back to him.
It's all about me. It's always all about me. No, I mean, I personally am honored, to be part of this community, and I'm forever will be thankful, for the personal stories that I've heard. That if I hadn't been involved with Rocky Horror, I would probably be a total idiot about that whole community, and how much it has affected each individual and their either coming out story or loss of innocence story if you were a young child, or the choices that you've made since you've realized that there are other choices in life, and you can become tolerant for the differences in all of us. That's, I think, what is how this movie has honored the world and certainly honored me in my career. God, that was good.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Cole. I have first saw your movie the first time with my friend Cole Eller in Hastings on his big TV screen a year ago, and I really am fascinated by it. And I have 2 questions, one for you, Nell, and one for you, Barry. The first question for you, Nell, is: did you ever have you ever been involved with Susan Sarandon? Did you ever get to know each other on set?
We did, because we would go in the same car to and from the studio every day, which took about, an hour in each direction, so we got to know each other. She taught me how to drink a cocktail in a moving vehicle.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you drinking?
Probably, tequila and whatever.
Oh.
But anyway,
Before or after the
After.
Oh, okay.
No, but if you're sitting in a car like this, driving along, if you want to drink a drink, you sit sideways and you drink that way, okay? Yeah.
Noted.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And the second question is for you, Barry.
Yes.
The question is, I have once watched 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure. How did you get cast as Thunderbolt in the sequel? You must have been an iconic role from the first movie for Thunderbolt, the hero dog. How did you get cast as him, and what was the process of that?
Oh, I see. The real question is, how did I get cast as George Washington in a miniseries after I had done Brad Majors in a corset and high heels? That is the question, but all the other things just sort of, I was basically a Broadway actor, singer, dancer, and so I had somewhat of a reputation. And so they just thought of me and gave it to me, and apparently, according to Nell, they didn't really want me. I just found out today. But thank you for the question.
And thank you for coming to Minnesota. We look forward to having you here next year.
Oh, good. Hope we can come. Thank you.
See you in Disneyland. All right, we have about 15 minutes left.
Great.
I'm good, I'm just in time. First of all, thank you all for being here. Nell, you're an absolute treasure. I love you so much. First, let me preface this question by saying Meatloaf is perfect for the role in every single way, but if there was any other kind of rock star guy that could replace him, who would you choose?
I don't know, but now you happen to mention it, I think Meatloaf should have been in the film more. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, he wanted to be in the film more, right? I mean,
Yeah.
He wanted to be...
We all wanted to be in the film more. I mean, it was okay for you. You were in the film the whole time.
Yeah. But he wanted to be Dr. Scott because on the stage, in the play...
The person that played Eddie,
plays Dr. Scott. So I think he almost didn't do the movie because he wasn't given the part of Dr. Scott.
But I think that Eddie should have been killed later on if they were going to kill it. Don't you reckon? Don't you think? What do you think? And he should have been around with lines and, he and me hanging out in our bedroom, in my bedroom.
I would love that.
Don't you reckon me doing his nails?
I think,
as well as stuff with me and, of course, me and Pat
and during the dinner scene and they pulled the thing off, he should have been singing a song.
Yes,
right?
exactly. You know that we didn't know that was going to be there under the table. That was one of the director's surprises. I didn't know what the hell it was, actually.
I ain't got nobody.
And just a follow-up question. Do you drink a cocktail the same way on the back of a motorcycle then?
No, I don't. I am so anti-motorbikes, darlings, don't get me started. I'm totally anti-smoking and I'm totally anti-motorbikes. Okay? That's just the beginning of my little rant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
She's also, and I agree with her, she's trying to clean up the whole thing around Rocky Horror, so that it's a little bit more kid-friendly, more, innocent, and I don't know what's so funny about that. Shut the fuck up. Yes, you are. We've had this conversation. You said it's just, what would you say? It's more shit than wit, and it used to be witty. And
yes, but that, when you say clean it up, it sounds like I'm trying to, desexualize it.
No. Just the words.
It's just become a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
And it just needs to be more defined.
Yeah, no, that's true. Sorry I spoke up.
I wanted to say thank you for coming out to Minnesota, even though it's freezing cold out. I was wondering what was kind of your guys' defining moments that you wanted to become actors or stage theater people in your life.
Oh God, I was born performing in a pram, darling. There was no question about it. End of story. I was just born to be in show business. You?
Well, I realized in high school that's where all the pretty girls were. So it was a natural fit for me. That's it. Thank you.
Well, now, weren't you discovered tap dancing? Didn't they come?
Oh, that when I was busking, yes. I was discovered busking. Yeah. Dressed as a boxer.
Just as a boxer?
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question is, being that I am somebody who has impersonated you now numerous times while doing drag, what is your way of supporting your LGBT fan base?
Being here, honey. Any way I can. I am the greatest fag hag any fag ever had. I mean, the fact is, I don't know what it is, but gay men are always wittier. What can you do? They're often better conversationalists. So many heterosexual men are crashing balls, let's just be honest.
Excuse me?
I'm not, don't listen to me. You know where I'm coming from.
I was just pitching an idea to Hallmark for a Christmas movie, and it was going to be Christmas, What a Drag. And it was going to take place in a drag bar in New Orleans. And I think we would just rip off the birdcage and all those things, and Hallmark, they didn't want to do it. I can understand that.
I like the idea.
Christmas, What a Drag. Yeah. Or It's a Drag, or whatever. It's a drag. And it should, okay. Thank you.
I just wrote a letter to the New York Times, which wasn't accepted.
Yeah.
I said, I went to see a new musical directed by the director of Hamilton. It's called The Wrong Man. And all the couples dancing were dancing with the opposite sex. And I thought, why on earth don't they start just having some of the couples same sex dancing together? It should be completely normal, like in commercials when you see the couple choosing a boring washing machine or going shopping for one or something. You've got to start seeing more same-sex couples doing everything. So that when people bring their small children, when you go to the theatre or just watching TV, you see that and they don't register as anything unusual. It's still too much either hetero or gay.
Mm-hmm.
And even some gay TV things, sometimes they've got everyone. It shouldn't be everyone being gay. It's all got to be mixed. Don't you agree? Yeah. No one should notice if two people of the same sex. And then, of course, we've all got the cross-dressing and the trams. We've got to get all that in, just so we don't even notice it, really. So that's the only way people stop judging.
Like you said, everyone's shopping for born washing machines. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah, so many ads should be same sex. Okay, go on.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you. They breed the next door.
I believe my first experience of seeing a bit of Rocky Horror was in the 1979 film Fame of Alan Parker's. Did you get any residuals from that?
Darling, we don't get residuals from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, let alone a spin-off, represent something like that. No.
And now I think with your repertoire with us, I think you should replace Maggie Smith in Downton Abbey.
I love it.
That's good, huh?
I love it.
Yeah.
A weekend. What's a weekend?
You just gotta get out of Australia. You're a Sydney person, and you gotta come to either London or New York or Los Angeles. We'll discuss it later. Okay, not in front of the children.
And Barry, it's interesting to see you as Spider Elliott in Scruples.
Well, thank you. You're the only one who remembers. Nobody else is standing up and applauding at this moment. Thank you very much. Yeah. Lindsay Wagner, it was like one of the first big sort of romantic miniseries way back when.
It was great.
Thank you.
And actually, my first original copy of the Rocky Horror Picture Show is on beta with Japanese subtitles.
Oh, wow. Beta. Who remembers Beta? You do, you old people. Okay.
Beta blockers.
Thank you both for being part of something that has so many wonderful memories. My mom taking me for the first time at 13 to see it, and being in a shadow cast myself for years after that. But speaking of the roles, if there was another role you could have played other than what you did, who would you rather be?
Frankenfurter, of course.
Yeah, I want to be
That
Janet. I want to be Janet. No, because she had that thing that you knew she was sexy and sexual, when she first saw her, but it was just being squashed,
She was so good, Susan, wasn't she?
Yeah, oh God.
I think you could have rocked a slip, Barry.
I could rock the slip, yeah.
Did they ask you to take your clothes off for the audition?
I didn't audition, they
That's
just gave
right.
me the part. Much to your chagrin. Yes.
And the directors.
I listen to music from Rocky Horror Picture Show constantly, like it's always on my phone. So I was wondering what your favorite song from it was.
Once in a while, she don't want to call you, speaking on the telephone. And once in your life,
Okay, let me.
she
No, whoa.
Try it.
Well, mine, of course, has to be the Time Warp because I got my solo in it. So.
Yeah, sure. It's all about
Otherwise, I think the actual science fiction. I love that song. Evocative.
Alright, thank you.
Help me, mommy! You sound like a Bee Gee. Oh, you look like a Bee Gee.
Okay.
Surviving Bee Gee.
Yes.
So, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you both for being here. I also will say I missed the first 5 minutes, so if this question has already been asked, I apologize. So, I find myself saying, damn it, Janet, all of the time, every time it comes out. So, I wanted to know, what are your guys' favorite lines or a favorite line you guys have from the movie?
From the movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Or the callbacks?
The movie.
Oh, the movie.
Well, it's a lyric, but I do think "Don't Dream It Be." It's a great.
Yeah. I like Susan's line when we're at the door and he goes, "You're wet," and she goes, "Yes, it's raining." I love her take on that. It's It's raining. You idiot.
Also, when she says to you, didn't we pass our house back there?
Yeah.
And then did she say something and then you go, it looked like a place for rich weirdos.
Oh, yeah.
That's great,
Yeah.
too.
It's a hunting lodge for
It's
rich
like,
weirdos.
I think it's a hunting lodge for
Rich weirdos. Yeah, I love that line, too. Thank you.
It's all very rich liberal.
I have a question for Barry. In Megaforce, you were rocking out a pretty sexy costume.
Thank you.
How comfortable was that?
Has anybody seen Megaforce? Do you know what that is? Yeah, all 7 of you. Thank you. This is a little movie. It was like it was a movie in '82 or '83 or something, and it was like a G.I. Joe kind of film. And we're making a documentary about the making of it, and I figured there's probably going to be about 300 people who see the documentary, when it's finally made. But it's a fascinating movie. Hal Needham directed it, who was a great stunt man and director, and I think it was one of his last films. And your question is, did I mind showing my penis? Is that what it is?
Wait, what?
My
It's
what?
pretty revealing.
It was revealing, yes. Well, no, I made a career of that, and I'm quite proud of it. Thank you for the question.
Patty?
Oh no.
Hi, Barry.
You're gonna have a
question for
good.
you.
Oh, from me, yeah, right.
Yeah, I understand you were in a band once called the Clowns.
Yes, I was.
Yes, I was. Can you tell us about that, please?
No.
No. But I have a song right here.
Okay, let's hear it. No, it was sort of a reggae kind of thing, We can't really hear it. Lady love, will you be mine? I'll give you all my time. Good song.
Bring back the clown. Send in the clown.
Send in the clown. Well, thank you very much. That's really just very embarrassing.
Thank you, Patty.
I thought I was counting on you.
I think it's time to. Oh, is this our final question?
Yeah, this could be the final question, then y'all can pick the poster.
Yeah, we have our photo ops done.
Okay, this question is for Nell. I too am not too thrilled about motorcycles. My husband desperately wanted a motorcycle. So I told him, okay, we can get a motorcycle, but then we have to go to every craft show I can find. Okay, we don't have a motorcycle. But the problem is I don't really want to go to craft shows anymore. So can you give me a new line for why we really shouldn't have it?
Well, first of all, in a relationship, I don't believe you have to do everything together. So, if he wants to get, you've got a daughter, haven't you? Did you ever bring a daughter with you?
No, I did not.
Well, just tell him that you don't want to be a widow, and tell him that when he's a quadriplegic, you're not going to be there feeding him.
Good point.
Yeah. So, that's it. And if he is a quadriplegic, you'll be doing crafts, right?
Oh, knitting,
Yes.
totally, yes.
Yeah. No, as I say, I'm so against them. It's, so many people have terrible accidents. And I was in a car accident, and everyone in the quad and paraplegic ward were mostly men from motorbikes.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
I share that. I broke my bike in a car accident when I was 17.
Yeah. Anyway, stay off motorbikes.
I'm so depressed right now. Thank you. The last question is about death and mayhem. You, come up here. Come up here. I know you wanted to get it before. Come up here. Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you all for coming today.